building tutorial. Let's go. Ow, my eye. This is gonna be a building tutorial. Yeah. Question marks. But I'm posting this, I'm putting this up because of the one reason. I find a lot of people that seem they're trying to build, and they can kinda build a little bit. Xavier.
Shut up.
But they're trying to build. They can sorta kinda build, but not very well, and they don't really understand more or less the principles and basics of building. The first thing I say, one, never play on slow building sense. It's so pointless to play on one. It doesn't affect your aiming sensitivity at all. As much as you think it might, it actually doesn't. Now I think I found that, okay, I just look like a complete bot right now. There we go. I'm such a bot sometimes, but how it is like, I built that because and relatively fast because I've been practicing and playing for a long time. I'm a season 2 or early season 2 / like late season 1 player. I don't know if you count me as a season 1 player. I only played like 3 games in it. But I'm gonna tell you pretty much the basics at least. Whenever building up, try to at least do 4 raw. Well, if you can't, just get better at double ramp. And whenever built up and the enemy to your right, do this. Okay, don't do the floor. Don't place. But what you want to do is you want to place 2 walls. Okay, my building sense is really high. Place a ramp, or if you're on that ramp, place 2 walls, a floor, and a ramp. Kind of like that, except for you don't have to do it that fast. Do it once, do as many times as you need. It'll give you high ground pretty fast, along with whoever you're fighting cannot get a good angle on you. But if you're just learning to build, I say the best thing to start out doing is to, when in a fight, when in a gunfight on like level ground, always establish a 2-story high, even if it takes you a second to build, like this. Oops. Kind of establish a 2 or, okay, I'm actually a bot sometimes though. Try to establish a 2 or 3-story high build. When in close range, a lot of the times you might see people do kind of like this. Use this kind of like a panic build. But I say, if anything, while in a shotgun fight or in close range, always do a kind of like that. Yet if they're on that side, then do that. But make sure your walls are orientating when you first build it where they're at. Go up if you need to. Only if you need to though. Another thing is when long range or getting shot at by an RPG / targeting grenade. If you're getting spammed by grenades, I say honestly, if anything, just move back and build kind of like this. This is gonna slow it down, the grenades down from hitting you. And also what it's gonna do is it's gonna give you time to recuperate. And if you have something like, you know, this setup, you can easily get 2 stories as long as, you know, the grenades aren't coming in or whatever they aren't coming in fast enough. Now, if you want to go for something more you're experienced in building, you know how to do this stuff, but you want to learn how to do like floor ramp, a double ramp, double floor, or something like that. The easiest way I say for double floor is to not move to only move your cursor. I'm so bad. To only move your cursor a little bit. You see that cursor right there? Only move it a little bit and move your character side to side. It's gonna probably give you best because instead of placing walls in front of you, you're gonna be placing walls right where you want them to be. And with floor ramp wall slash ramp floor wall ramp, it's relatively simple. Let me show you how to do it real quick. What you're going to want to do is when you build up once, you place a stair, a floor, and then as you're moving up, a wall. You get stair, floor, wall. I have my 3 fingers on the build buttons on my controller when I do it, but you don't have to. You can do it with 2 fingers. You can do it with 1 if you're really fast with your fingers. Don't really care how you do it, as long as it's just, you know, that's how I do it. It works for me just fine. Do it however you'd like to do it. Floor ramp, wall ramp. Now that one's a tricky one. This one I might not get 100% of the time because I'm not the greatest at doing that. I can do it well. I'm just not the greatest. What you always want to do is you gotta place the ramp, place the floor, do like this. Place that ramp last. And okay, look like such a bot. Always jump. If you don't jump, look down and always jump. I know I'm looking like a bot doing this, but this is how you're actually supposed to do it. There we go. You do it just like that. I do the same thing where I have it on the 3 buttons. It just makes it easier and quicker for me. Don't really care what you use as long as you can get it done. And what you see me doing now, I call them 90s. So they've been called half turns before and stuff like that. These are probably one of the most helpful things you can learn as a builder, but they're one of the most skillful. When I showed you in the beginning to turn to your right or left, you can do that many times to achieve high ground. Just like that. I say first, when you start doing it, do it like this. Bring your cursor down and then jump. This is how I do it, and this is how I'm able to do it so fast. Or you can, if you're comfortable with doing 90, wait 1 second, let me grab some more material so I don't run out while doing this demonstration. You would have, you can do it in rapid succession. Now, I'm kind of good at it. I can sometimes pull it off. I sometimes can't pull it off. Okay. It's like this. Kind of like that, but a little fast. Okay, there we go. That was a better interpretation of it. Okay, that was a horrible interpretation of it. Big oof. No, it's pretty easy to get. It's pretty easy. They're pretty easy to do if you do this. If you start out doing this slow, and then move your way up on. And if I understand some people are like, how can you teach me other things, stuff like that to help you get high ground that isn't 90s because those look really hard or something like that. 180s, 360s, this stuff 360 is this.
What he's doing? Why you bullying me?
You do this when you're making a 1x1.
Bitch, why you bullying me, bro?
180s are this. Kind of like this. They're pretty helpful. They're both are very helpful in battle when building up and such, but can be kind of difficult to pull off if you don't have a lot of mats. Same with 90s and stuff. Most of these things are kind of mat consuming, or quite mat consuming depending on what it is. That's why you kind of want to harvest up if you ever are actually going to use these. Most of these, except for, you know, the standard ones, but like the more advanced ones like 90s, 180s, 360s, and such like that. You see how I'll lose. I'm just doing 4 90s and I've already lost a lot of wood. Now 90s are probably my favorite thing to do out of these, just because they're quick and you can probably get the highest using them. But even these, which are probably one of the least mat consuming here, probably is the least mat consuming one here. See, they're very helpful tools and they're just good to know in general. But every time if you're ever getting, but here's like the basic stuff. Pretty much you need to know about building to at least be able to do well. Always do this at minimum in a fight. If you're getting shot at, keep replacing walls and such until he has to reload, and then do the favor. Then return the favor. If you want to have a little bit more room, or if you're in a squad, more or less 3, or you know, like this, it's kind of fine, or kind of like this. This is also fine. I always build up, you know, like 2. That's just how I always have done it. But it's up to you how you want to do it, if you want to go. But like basic things kind of like that you should know at this point, unless you're new to the game. I mean, there isn't a whole lot other things you can help with building other than this one other thing. If you ever are in a pinch, low resource, and that such, instead of and if you're like an average user of floor ramp wall, just do floor wall until you can get more. If you're an avid user of double ramp or double like this, or with the floor underneath, and you're kind of low and you have to push somebody to get their mats, always only do 1 or no wall. It's going to be your biggest help, and it's the only thing that's really going to save you in that situation with your mats being low. If your mats are high, go away. If your mats are low and you still want to do that, it's up to you. My biggest tip is just keep an eye on your mat count, because, you know, building is one of the most important slash the most important thing in this game to do. This was kind of a different video, I know. But it's just there to help the people who might need a little bit of help with building out there. Let's hope this video helped you become a slightly either better builder or more educated about the art of building. And this will be me ending it.